ho, 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 'tis the season. My name's Adam Cook and I'm not Father Christmas, just the size of him. But everyone, welcome to the God is a Geek Game of the Year deliberations. We do this. I was going to start by saying this is the, 8th annual or whatever, but I can't remember how long we've been doing this, but it's a long time. Joining me this year, Christopher White.
Hello.
I threw you off there, I think, by using your full name. I've done it before,
You
but
did
I thought,
You did
Okay.
it.
How are you, Chris?
I'm
All right,
good,
you ready
man.
to rock?
Yeah, certainly am.
Excited?
Yeah,
to
very.
talk about the highs and the very lows of this year's in gaming, yeah?
Very, very excited.
Okay. Gary Bailey's here as well.
Hi.
You excited? This
I
isn't
am.
your first rodeo, is it?
This is my second,
Okay.
and I'm looking forward to this one.
And I don't normally introduce him last, but because it's his first rodeo, I'm just going to keep saying rodeo, because, hey, Red Dead was out this year. Adam Carroll, it's your first time doing the God is a Geek Game of the Year. Once listener, now podcaster?
Yeah, you can say that. And I am incredibly excited because this is actually, I remember this time last year, Adam, we were discussing, you were telling me, do you want to come on the podcast? And I was like, absolutely,
that's
for
right.
this Game of the Year one, I definitely want to do this. Game of the Year is the best across the board for me. I love this stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to give the usual disclaimers that this is not quite a look behind the curtain. This is the curtain. We are deciding our Game of the Years. It's a week-long thing. You'll have a podcast every day this week. It might already happen. I don't know. At this point, you could be listening to it. But what I will say, these podcasts, you're going to hear things you wouldn't normally hear. You're going to hear clicking and clacking of keyboards as we are actually formulating the lists. We've got a pre-written document, which is, I'm just going to have a quick scroll down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages long. There are loads of games in every category. I don't think we've changed any of the categories. They're still kind of fast and loose, but this is for us. This is for us to do. It's fun for us to do. It's good for you to listen to, hopefully. So with that in mind, I think it's time that we probably kick off. So, the first award for this year, as it was last year, is the best re-release, remake or remaster. Now, this is quite a loose category to start. This is the one you warm up on a little bit. But nonetheless, it is a very long list of games. So, here we go. Bayonetta 1 and 2, grouped together because they were released as a package. Shadow of the Colossus, Castlevania Requiem, Dark Souls Remastered, Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, No Man's Sky Next, Shenmue 1 and 2. This is a long list. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, Diablo 3 on Switch, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on Switch, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Switch, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Zone of the Enders, and Yakuza Kiwami 2. So there's 14 games there. We're going to pick 5. We're going to give, one is the coveted best in class, I guess. Last year, interestingly, I'm just going to quickly tell you what the awards were. In first place was Yakuza Kiwami, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap in third, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in fourth, and Wipeout Omega Collection in fifth. That does not feel like it was a year ago, lads, but it was. And curiously, Yakuza Kiwami, again, this year, we got it again. And while we haven't got Crash Bandicoot, Spyro's kind of taken its place, so there's a definite theme here. Are there any on this list that anyone can shout and say are easy to cut nice and early on? Because we have to whittle this down from 14 to 5.
Castlevania Requiem. I'm happy to get rid of that.
Brutal. I agree with you, Chris, because it was a pretty bare bones package.
Yeah.
There was kind of no collector's stuff. It was just his. The games again, and they'd been released. One of them had definitely been released on 360, arcade thingy,
The biggest advantage is getting Rondo of Blood. That's really...
No, that's fair.
But yeah, it was just kind of like, it's the same. They didn't really do anything to it because I suppose you couldn't. And you just had nice, borders.
Yeah.
But to counteract that, they are still very, very good games.
Absolutely.
God, yeah.
Everyone should play them if you haven't.
I'm happy to cut it.
Okay, I mean that's 3, unless Adam, you've got a.
No, I'm happy to cut that.
Okay,
I think we
that's
all
easy
know.
enough.
We all know it's the brilliant games. It's just
Yeah. So since Chris has been fairly brutal with Castlevania, I may get shouted down.
I can
for
see
this,
where that
but
cursor is. I can see where it is.
Now, I know how much Chris loves these games, so this is not me attacking Chris, but I remember one thing he said when he was reviewing these Shenmue 1 and 2 collection about the audio, I think, of the first game. Chris, was it?
Both, yeah.
Well, it was both, and the audio was just like I can't remember the exact conversation, but I remember you saying it was just so bad.
Look, no. You see, you might think I'm going to disagree with you, but I think there are 5 other games on this list that deserve to be up for best re-release, remake, or remaster. So
okay,
it's I'm
so,
not happy to say goodbye to it, but I do understand.
Have to, because the only thing I'm just as I'm saying this. Because I didn't play him, so it's not. I'm cutting it. I didn't play it. I have no real affection for the series, but I'm actually looking down the list and looking at them going. I'm just literally gonna like there's 1, 2, 3, and I'm not finding a top 5 that easily. So if you want to fight for it, I mean,
we could put a pin in it and kind of come back to that one.
Well, let's because the thing is, there's games on here that I've not played. So things like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, is that really going to be in the top 5?
So I think we need to address this quite quickly. There's Captain Toad and there's Donkey Kong Country, which are both fantastic games, okay? But they are the Switch. They're the Switch version of a Wii U game, slightly gussied up. I am not. I've played both, and I like both, but I'm not going to fight a corner for them. And I think the only other person to do that is going to be Adam. Yeah,
but I'm going to be honest and say that both Captain Toad and Donkey Kong would have been scratched off the list for me. And I actually was. I would do this before I would cut Shenmue.
Yeah,
because thank you, Adam. I appreciate that.
Because I played. It's not just even that. I played Shenmue, the first one, for the first time this year.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. And I gotta say, I had fun, but I have patience for that kind of game. And like, even with its flaws, I find entertainment within the flaws. Like Tom the Hot Dog Man is a highlight of my year. That's straight up it.
Forgot about that.
So that's my whole thing there. Like, I wouldn't scratch it off straight away because I know it's close to people's hearts, as is Captain Toad. Well, maybe not Captain Toad, but Donkey Kong is anyway, in general. But they can kind of go. They didn't really do much new stuff either, but just be on the Switch.
By that same logic, can we cut those two and also cut Zone of the Enders quite quickly?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was going to go for that next.
Yeah.
I added that to the list just pure because I knew it was a good remake, but having not actually played it,
do you know what?
It's just like it needed to be on the list at least.
You're right to add it because they had the VR as well for it. So
that's right. Yeah,
they did do something else with it. It was just a bit of shit.
So to counter, I mean, there's 10 games left out here. Well, there's actually 12, I suppose, technically, but there's 2 of them are kind of collections. Well, I think we have to have a conversation about No Man's Sky at some point. I think we had plenty of conversations last year. No Man's Sky Next was the big relaunch. Seems a bit unfair, but it was kind of re-released because it came to Xbox One. So it was a new game for Xbox users, and it did revamp the game. The question I have, I think, is because I meant to play it. I really did. The best intentions, I wanted to play that game again, but I just never got round to it. It's been a mad year for game releases, and I just never got to it. The question I have, I think, is that game in the spirit of the category?
I think
that's a good
purely
question.
for the Xbox release, yes.
Okay.
Because I did quite enjoy it. Me and Nicola had a go on it together, and it was
that's right.
It was a lot of fun, and I spent a good 6 straight hours building my base.
Wow.
So it grabbed me.
Didn't she crash into it?
Yeah, she crashed into it. Yeah, but no, I really liked it, so I wouldn't look at cutting that just yet because I think that was a good game and a good re-release if you were playing on the Xbox. So
what about Bayonetta?
I'm going to quickly say Bayonetta. Okay, like. Bayonetta 2 is one of my all-time favourites, and it's another Donkey Kong Captain Toad situation for me.
It is.
It's just ported to Switch. That is really all there is.
But the thing is, and I tried to interrupt you, the only thing is I think Bayonetta doesn't quite make this list. But the other thing that nobody's said yet is, even though I haven't played it and I didn't buy it, I think Diablo 3 does make this list. And really, they're the same. That's the same argument for and against both those games, right?
I have put in a good few hours with Diablo 3 on Switch. And if we're just going to jump to that very quickly, all I will say is that if you're ever going to play Diablo 3 for the first time, I think just get the Switch one. It is... I think it's absolutely phenomenal on that console, and it kind of just belongs there. Like, Bayonetta doesn't really need to be there, but like, I'm happy it's there.
But did they add any new content to Diablo 3? I'm not saying that's the be all and end all of the category, but
the only thing was
I thought they did. I thought they called it something else.
To be fair, they did include the Necromancer DLC.
Yeah,
didn't they call it like what was because it was re-released on the console
collection?
Yeah,
like you got Ganondorf armor and stuff.
Yeah, but that version also was on PS4, wasn't it?
That didn't include the Necromancer. Because I
thought they did. The Eternal Collection added because there was the original release on PS4, which was, I forget what that was called. Is that the Inferno or something like that?
Inferno, I think.
Yeah, and that was one where it was Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls. That was it.
Oh no, that doesn't say.
And then the Eternal Collection added the Necromancer DLC, sort of bundled in with it as well.
So according to Amazon, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection PS4 is $29.99, and it includes all Diablo 3 content. I can't. Is it Necro Dancer? I thought that was a different game. Necromancer.
Yeah, Necromancer.
Reaper of Souls.
Yeah.
But I thought. I don't get it. But
there wasn't.
It doesn't sound like we're comfortable cutting that game yet.
No, I just short spoiler. That would be in my top 5 of this list. That's just my personal.
Okay, no. I mean that's absolutely fine.
But
so are we cutting Bayonettas?
I would say yes.
Can we get? I'm going to say yes as a second. Can we get a third to majority boot it?
I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Street Fighter Arcade one to stay?
So I'm googling them. You'd hear me tapping away because I've just suddenly. That was definitely this year, right?
Yeah, I'm certain it was. I forget where, but it was earlier this year. I'm sure it was.
But the trouble is, I can't remember what they added. I actually
wasn't
can't
that
remember.
like with they added like a proper story mode and stuff like that.
That's right, but it wasn't. It was not a good story mode. It was like there were cutscenes and stuff. That's right. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it was. Oh Jesus, that was January. Wow, that's why I can't remember it. Street Fighter 5 is a really, really good game, and Arcade Edition is the. I feel like we say this about one game every year, but it was the way that game should have been.
Yeah.
When it was initially released. But I feel a little funny about awarding someone for fixing the game that was fucked in the first place.
But by that logic, we should cut No Man's Sky.
Yes, but
No Man's Sky is kind of tricky because if this category was called like the fair play category, I'd put No Man's Sky in there.
Yeah, it's funny because I nearly changed it to something like that, like the fair play lads.
Fair play lads.
You fixed your game.
Do you know what I mean? Because they did do a good job.
No, totally.
But like, it's the category situation. I don't know if it is right. But yeah.
Shall we cut 30th Anniversary Collection as an easy cut? Because while it's something I enjoyed, and it had some nice stuff in it, it was like there were multiple versions of the same games.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. There were like Hyper Fighting, Turbo Fighting, there were lots of versions of it. And while it's a good collection...
yeah.
It's also about the 300th...
Yeah, and I just don't feel
collection
like
of Street Fighter.
Well, I don't feel like I'm going to get any backing in the room that's hitting the top 5, and so it's like I don't want to,
Yeah.
It's gone. So we got three games to cut here.
I just want to get straight to it. Nobody has said it yet. How are we feeling about Dark Souls Remastered?
So I want to put a pin in that conversation because that's a bigger conversation, because that game almost needs to be on here twice. Because you need to have Dark Souls Remastered as we played it when it was released on PS4 and Xbox One, and then we need a Switch version on here. And I feel like if Dark Souls makes this list, which I think for me personally it just about does, I think it needs to be Dark Souls Remastered brackets, not the Switch version.
Yep, I'm with you on that. 100%.
You know what I mean? There needs to be that caveat. I think. See, you're going for Dark Souls Remastered. The one I was going to go for is Yakuza Kiwami 2. And you know I love that series, but I haven't played 2. I haven't had time. I feel like I've overdosed on Yakuza. Like I haven't finished 6. I haven't started 2, and I'm now in this weird place of like, well, I've played a few hours of 6. but should I go back and do 2 now? Because 2 didn't. Chris, hopefully you'll remember. Did 2 actually come out before or after 6?
Came after.
Kiwami.
Came
it did,
after.
Didn't it?
Yeah, because it was
like
January,
August or something like that when it Kiwami.
Yeah,
2.
it was summertime. I'll just put this here. We're not cutting Kiwami 2. Well, I don't care where it goes in the list, but it definitely deserves to be in this list.
There's 4 of us, right? If we all give a game on this list that we can't cut right now, we can have. Is that yours, Chris? Yakuza.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say Shadow of the Colossus. So I'll put that in bold. Adam, which one was yours? Was it Diablo? Or was there one
I would have said Shadow, but I'll put Diablo for now.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's good. And Gary,
I'd go with Dark Souls.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Surely Spyro's in the top 5.
Oh yeah.
I would say so.
Surely. I mean, I don't know if you've all played it, but like it's an amazing level of. I mean, if we're talking about a remake, there's only 2 games on this list. Well, Kiwami kind of, but like Spyro and Shadow are remakes.
Yeah.
And I think if I put that in bold, I'm personally comfortable with those 5 games in the list. It's whether you guys are not, which would mean cutting No Man's Sky, Shenmue, and Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is here. It's so funny, but like, I feel bad with Shenmue not being in the top 5. I don't know what it is. It's... I
Bad
just...
taste?
Hey, let's not get mean so early on in this note, okay?
Wow. Less than 20 minutes into
The
it.
beef has begun. I'm trying to be nice here, do you know?
That's cut to the quick, man.
I don't know. It's just... I look, to be honest...
What do you cut? What do you cut in favour of keeping Shenmue? And what's your reasoning for keeping Shenmue?
To be honest, when you look at the actual title of this category, Best Release or Remake, I don't think they did a good job. Really.
What can Chris? And this is putting you on the spot. So, and it was a while ago. Can you remember what score you give? Did we review them singly or as a? I can't even remember.
We reviewed them as a collection.
We did. Okay. Can you remember?
I think it was 8, maybe.
I'm going to Google it. Again, I did say at the beginning of this, you'll hear tapping. I'm going to just Google it. Shenmue 1 and 2 review. We did as a collection, and you gave it 8.5. So, Shadow of the Colossus, I think I gave a 9. Dark Souls Remastered, I think Gary rated quite highly. Diablo 3 is Diablo 3. I know that got a high score. Spyro Reignited, I should be able to remember what you gave that. It was only about a few weeks ago now. Was it a 9? Oh, Chris, we need to... We're both fired. I mean, we can't...
I think it was 8.5.
It might have been, yeah. But I'd take Spyro over Shenmue. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, because Chris is going to go, wait, what?
I'm not right. I love it. But that's my game. No way is anyone going to put this in the top 5. And the ones you've highlighted, bar Dark Souls, I would say definitely deserve to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Let's go around the room one last time. Street Fighter 5, anyone keeping it?
No.
No.
Gone. No Man's Sky next.
Fair play, but no.
Yeah, I'm with it because it's like it's a really good version. They've done such a good job with it, but in many ways, it is still the same game.
See, I don't feel it fits this category. I feel, and perhaps we can do this as the days go on, I kind of feel we need a you fixed your game category, because what they did was, what we could call the category is games as a service.
Yeah.
Because No Man's Sky, we all played it on PS4, and yes, okay, it came to Xbox, but what this was a patch.
Yeah. It was still problematic, because when they released next on PS4...
there's another one coming.
Yeah, there isn't.
Or is it come? I can't remember.
Or something. No.
Yeah, I think it's out, isn't it? I think that's out.
But it's like when they first released Next, on the Pro, it was a bit of a nightmare.
That's right. I had really weird frame pacing issues with that. It made me feel a bit... I did try it, and now I remember it.
Yeah, it was very good to see what they did, and all the stuff they added was cool, but I think maybe just partly because of stuff like some of its problems, maybe that's not worth the being on this list.
So the majority rules, I'm going to say cut. Gary's cutting. It's down to Adam and Chris.
Cut.
Sorry, Chris.
No, it's all right.
Well, you sure?
Well, yeah.
No, but if you could
I
make an argument...
I would just like to say I think it deserves to be at 5. But, hey.
So the thing for me is that I'd say I feel weird about it being on this list because I feel like we should have made a games as a service list, and this could very well be up high on that top 5. I do personally feel if it does make this top 5, it's at number 5, and again personally, and it's not my list, but for me, the game that misses out then is probably Yakuza Kiwami, because I haven't played it yet, and because it is just that same engine from Yakuza Kiwami, but with 2's story. And I've heard that 2 is the best story. Like, if we could pause the world for like a month, I'm not asking for a lot, just one solid month, and I could smash through some of that backlog, I'd be such a happy man. But
I don't feel strongly enough to keep it. Like,
okay,
I'm not going to lose any sleep if it goes in at 5. If it doesn't,
I mean, if you want to try and argue Dark Souls out,
no.
I would think there might be some room to be heard, but no?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So, and the last one then, so we have a 6 is Shenmue.
Sorry, Suzuki-san.
Okay.
Sorry, Tom, we tried.
So yeah. I am just going to just go down this list and add. I can't find it. There's so many games and things on this list. Best moment. Someone remember to add in the hot dog guy, because although I haven't played it, it sounds like you guys feel strong enough. That needs to be on there. So best release or remake. We need to arrange these into a top 5, and then we've got Shadow of the Colossus, Dark Souls Remastered, Diablo 3 on Switch, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and Yakuza Kiwami 2.
I'll say straight off the bat, I do think Dark Souls goes at number 5.
Wow, I thought you were going to go the other way with that.
Yeah, so did I.
Because I
was about to have a big argument with you.
Get in the caravan, get it in.
Yeah, get in that fucking caravan was invented for shit like that.
It's a great remaster, and the 60 frames is like spot on. You know, it's what you kind of expect. But
it's still not the best Dark Souls, is it?
No, it's not. And it's still.
We just agree on that.
It still hasn't. It's still got some texture issues and stuff like that. It's not fully 4K as well.
I mean, I would have it probably at 4, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to fight for it, like, because Diablo 3 on Switch, for example, is the one game where it's like don't buy it because again, Adam, really?
Well, they dropped it, didn't they, for like the Game Awards? They dropped it to like £35, and I was like, no,
that's still too much for a game I own. I own it on PC, like the base version. I own it on PS4. I think I might have given it away because I think I had a promo copy on Xbox One as well. It's like, now come on, I'm not buying this game a 4th time because I won't play it. I'll say it. Shadow of the Colossus wins.
I've not played it, but everyone
says
says how good it is, and the stuff I've seen of it makes me think, yes, this is.
I think if Shadow wins, Spyro goes second.
I agree.
Ooh,
because Spyro was excellent. It was an excellent trilogy.
Do you remember?
It was a complete remaster.
Well, that's the thing. Do you remember we were talking? I forget who was on the podcast, but I think we mentioned it a few times when there was talk of Spyro. That like I don't remember a single thing about that game. And I'll be honest with you, when I booted it up, I still didn't remember a thing about that game. But I tell you what, I spent hours just playing it, and it's like when you really get down to the core element of it, there isn't much to it. It's a platformer, 3D platformer that you collect everything you can possibly collect in it. But you know what? Damned if it ain't fun, and it's just Hey, listen, we're all friends. I'm going to say it. It's just kind of charming, you know?
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
I'm gonna agree with Shadow being number 1. Like, just to remind people, like, this year was the first time I ever got to play that game.
That's right. That's what I was wondering. So
that's
you did like it, didn't you?
Like, I adored it. I think like that game, for everything that everyone talks about, it still holds up like so well. Like, if anything, it hasn't even dipped, I think, in quality. I think the story is just out of this world. I love the way it just runs. I love the look of it. Even, to be honest, with this category being a re-release or a remake, they did a superb job because it looks great. It looks fantastic. Like that big landscape when you're riding the horse and stuff. It is super, super good, and the story is just so powerful. Just to go off with what you're saying with Spyro at number 2, even though I haven't played it, I'm actually okay with that, because every single time an ad comes on advertising that game, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that looks incredible. Like, it just looks so charming. It really does. And it even looks more charming than when I know this might be like a bit of a controversial one, but when Crash, the Insane Trilogy, got announced and we saw it, I was like, all right, that's amazing. But going off of what you said, Adam, not being able to remember much about Spyro, I know nothing about it, but I was just like, oh my God, I want that. Like, I remember Crash, and I was like, oh, that looks great. Looks really well done and stuff. But Spyro looks super. It really does.
I think if I was given the choice, as much as I have a much more of a fondness, and like, Crash, the kart racing game has been announced for next year, and like people are losing their shit over that, and I'm like, do you know what? I don't know that it's. I want, with Sonic, the Sonic one as well. It's like, it's a lot of kart races, kart racing games when like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still available on Switch. Now, I know not everyone has Switch, but like, I don't know. I mean, this is another discussion. The reason I mention that is because I think I probably would say if I had to pick between playing Spyro Reignited or Crash, I think I'd pick Spyro because I don't remember as much of it, so it feels new. I just think Spyro, they just did just a great job. So I'm not hearing much argument for those top two.
No, I'd lock them in.
See, I know. Who said Dark Souls at 5? I feel like Diablo 3 because it's kind of. But it's had the least done to it, right?
Yeah, but this is the thing. You see, it may have had the least done to it because there's not much that needs to be done. It's a great game, and the visuals had a bit of a downgrade, but that's just going to happen. But it runs so smooth. Like, Dark Souls.
To be fair, that's what it's got over Dark Souls on Switch.
That's what I mean. Like,
How is it on handheld? Because I feel like that game would be hard to play on a small screen.
It is. Honestly, there is
just no. That's it. End. No.
Like, there is no issues, right? Because we'll talk about it later on. But Super Smash Brothers, I've picked that up and I've played that on handheld, and I'll talk about that differently. Diablo 3 is fantastic. Like, those kind of style games are very good for handheld. Like, because it doesn't really need much. You can just hold down buttons and you just have all these amazing powers and spells firing out. So it's not too difficult. In fact, it's not difficult at all. Dark Souls Remastered, it's rough. It is just rough. And to me, if you're re-releasing something or remaking something or whatever, you can't do that. Like that's a poor port of that game. Like,
but can we?
Can we not
say it's a port, exclude the Switch version?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a poor port on Switch.
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
but not on the others.
Yeah, but then again, as well, I just didn't get on with the game, so I just have that's my issue with it.
How do we feel about the list as it stands there? And obviously, this is going to happen a few times. The listener can't see our list, but how do we feel about as it sits?
I honestly think it's down to Chris. The 3 and 4 situation.
I'd clearly put Yakuza at 3. So
I'm having played neither of the 3 or 4 there, which is Diablo and Yakuza. I think I'd lean towards Yakuza as well.
And I'll jump in and say that I do agree. Now, that may sound weird,
okay,
because I was just defending Diablo 3, but the situation is Yakuza is another experience that I've had really only this year, and I really love it, and I hold that series up very highly now, and like, for what I've played of this one, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, I know Diablo very well. I've played hours and hours on PC.
Yeah.
But Yakuza is kind of like, it's just a really, really, like, I'm happy it's come out. I'm happy this series is, I know there's so much of it coming out, but I'm okay with that. I'll eventually get to these games, you know what I mean? Diablo 3 is like, it's becoming Skyrim almost at this stage, you know?
Well, they just need to release it on iPad, really. Or have they? I don't know. Well, they will be. The other Diablo... Oh, let's move on. I just realised what I said. Forget it. Nothing. Diablo doesn't exist. Are we at a consensus there? I think we are.
I think so.
I'm happy with us.
Okay, so there we go. That's day one's first award is best re-release or remake or reimagining or whatever you want to call it. But best re-release is in 5th place Dark Souls Remasters, very specifically not the Switch version. The PS4 and Xbox One version of Dark Souls Remastered. In 4th place is Diablo 3. which came to Switch this year. In third place is Yakuza Kiwami 2, which again last year Yakuza Kiwami won it, and I feel a bit bad for Toys for Bob because in second place is Spyro Reignited Trilogy, because again this year they have been pipped to the best re-release by another game, and the best re-release or remake is Shadow of the Colossus. So well done. That's your first award. Right, the second award. This is always, I like this one because I think it's been a year of sort of nice surprises, things you didn't expect, or games that you weren't expecting, and they're like, these are great. So this is a list of 17 games. FIFA 19, Octopath Traveler, Onrush, Microsoft's studio announcements, which isn't a game, obviously, it's a concept, Warhammer Vermintide 2, Yoku's Island Express, Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Tetris Effect, Moonlighter, Monster Hunter World, Secret of Mana. I'm not sure why that's on here. I think that was supposed to be on the list above, actually, but it wouldn't have made it, so I'll delete that now. Astrobot Rescue Mission, The Messenger, Unravel 2, Batman Telltale, also not sure why that's on there, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Just to quickly go back to last year, the biggest surprise, or nicest surprise, was PUBG, with Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, Horizon Zero Dawn, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Nintendo Switch. I can't remember that conversation, how the Switch got in there, but there it is.
I think it was because we were all expecting it to be a bit...
were we?
I think
Speaking for yourself,
because
mate.
I think after what happened with the Wii U, like how much of a, let's face it was a flop, and I think we were all just expecting maybe it was going to be that again. But
listen, you can go back and listen, and it's fine. People can go back and listen, and I'm sure they did. We need to start cutting 16 games here. There's 5 that can make it. I'm just going to say, because I don't know why these are on here, I'm going to be brutal, and I'm going to ask if nicest / biggest surprise we can cut Unravel 2 and Batman Telltale.
Yeah,
I put them on.
Oh, did you put them both? I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, mate. I'm
to
so
be
sorry.
fair, mate, I did it about 12 o'clock today.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
I just wanted to talk about them really because
that's fine.
I think Unravel 2 after the first one was quite shit. This was actually quite refreshing.
Well, and it was also an actual surprise. It just was announced and released.
Yes.
Which you don't. Do you know what? Maybe I'm being a bit hasty there then.
I really enjoyed Unravel 2. I think it did a lot better than the first. And Batman Telltale, I put that on it. The second season, which I'm talking about, actually came out in 2017. However, the 2 final episodes came out. It was January and February. And the final episode I just wanted to mention was one of the best Telltale episodes of any game they've ever done. Just by the way that they finally gave us Joker as a character, whereas he'd been this measly kind of just loser throughout the whole series, and you finally see him become the Joker, and it was actually done exceptionally well. So,
but how do you feel about cutting it though?
I'm happy to cut it. I just wanted to put it in because I'd forget, and I'd go another year without mentioning.
Fair.
After Telltale's, setting year, I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Well, look, I've gone straight to the jugular on Chris. Accidentally, I didn't know he'd put both of them in. Chris, is there a game you'd cut if we cut Batman? Is there a game that you want to cut quickly? There's a lot on there actually.
I think there's a lot of great games on this list that will be in the top 5. So I'll be happy to cancel Microsoft. And
I think it's the only kind of concept in there where the rest are just games. And while it was a nice surprise, it was kind of a sustained one, wasn't it? Like there was some at E3, some later. It was kind of a sustained thing. Like it was. I could so easily have just put Microsoft's Charm Offensive, couldn't I? Because I put that on the list, and it's kind of they had to really, didn't they? So I think
I'm not that comfortable with that going yet, personally.
Really? It was a surprise
I just think,
to you?
Yeah. Well, all those. When it's like, oh yeah, we've acquired all the, especially some of them like Obsidian and stuff like that. It's like that's a pretty big Ninja Theory. I just thought it was.
Well, let's hear your counter argument. Let's hear. Sorry, counter pick.
I
don't think it's a big surprise that Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales is a good game. Like CD Projekt Red.
It was for me.
makers
That
of
was
good
more the
games.
fact that it was just announced out of nowhere and then released like a
Okay,
few
that's a
weeks
good
later.
point.
It was.
I'd also like to throw in there, like, I haven't played Thronebreaker yet, but like I think a lot of people just kind of in their heads went, it's just Gwent, and I think it kind of outdid that. I think it was more than just Gwent for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, I went into it because I'm no good at Gwent, or I wasn't in The Witcher 3, so I was like, I wasn't sure about it. And playing it, I really enjoyed it.
So look, we have to cut 10 games here, lads.
I'm going to say
We have to. So
can we FIFA,
Go on,
FIFA 19?
I'm not comfortable with that.
Lads, is it really a big surprise that fucking
It's
game
a
came out?
massive
Yeah.
surprise, yeah, because I did not like the last few games, and FIFA 19 is fucking outstanding. A brilliant football game.
Okay.
Whether it makes this top 5 eventually, I don't know, because obviously there's you two guys aren't big sort of FIFA fans, Chris and I am, and the law of
But you know what,
democracy.
though, right?
But I
I
feel
did-
like cutting it now is harsh.
I did play FIFA 19, and like coming from somebody who has no idea about football, I've played pretty much all FIFA games, weirdly, and I thought 19 felt weird. I don't know what that was. I thought it was really heavy, and it just, I don't know. It was a lot slower, but not as like.
It is slower.
I
yeah.
didn't feel it was as like fun paced in a way. Maybe that's just me now. Like, but that's what I truly feel about. But to have FIFA as like a nice big surprise, like, I don't know if it's deserving because it's so hit and miss throughout the years.
This is a developer and a publisher that could just so many moons ago. Gary, I know you used to enjoy football yourself, but Chris will definitely be with me here. FIFA was the game that gave us that whole ideology of just the new game with the updated rosters, right?
Yeah.
They are now at the point where they could do that and they would still be the number one selling game all year round, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They genuinely... It's still not perfect. There are still things... I still think the online needs work. It still doesn't feel close to how it plays offline. That's the thing that a lot of football games do. But to me, I'm not a fanboy, but I've been a PES guy the last few years. I felt like PES has been where it's at. This year, it's FIFA for me, massively. And the paradigm shift for me to go back to FIFA, to me, maybe it's a personal thing, because Chris, I know, liked 18 as well, but for me 19 was astonishingly good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm fully happy to keep it in for now.
If
I mean, what about Smash? Right, because the reason
I
I put
was
Smash
gonna
on
ask
there
why
is
that's
a
on
personal.
there.
Right, the
Did
reason it's
anyone
on there
really
is because I
expect it
really
was-
like it. I really like it. Okay, so personally speaking, that's a massive surprise.
Okay.
Because I don't like
That
Smash
was
Brothers.
because I was wondering. It's like I'm
historically.
fairly certain everyone expected it to be good.
Yeah, I
So-
think I've put that on there. Like, it's on the bottom of the list here because I put it there in the very late record. Like, I personally really like it, and I didn't expect to. So it's like, it's a very personal thing. I think I threw it on there as just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big surprise that game is good. And let's be honest, it literally isn't a surprise because they showed us everything before the game came out. Like, it's quite funny. Normally Nintendo embargoes are like this 3-page list of things you can't show. With Smash Brothers, it's like, you can fucking film anything you like because they've already shown it all. There was one thing we couldn't show, and I'm not going to say it here, but it's like the one thing in a Nintendo embargo is just...
But to go back,
I think it has to
go
go,
back
man.
with what you just said there, Adam. Right, like it isn't a big surprise, okay? But at the same time, this is the God is Geek list, and you just said it's a big surprise to you, and I would absolutely 100% agree with you there too, because I've had like Melee and Brawl like ever since release day.
Yeah.
I've played them, and I think you've said the same thing that I would have said. Smash is cool, but I don't know if I can get it or understand it really or get the whole hype. And I honestly, I went yesterday, as of recording right now, but I went yesterday and picked it up, and I've put in probably nearly 6 to 7 hours already. Like,
It's a really good
it's
game.
really good.
But it's not going to make a top 5 list of biggest surprises of the year, man. It's not. It's not. And we've got 10 games to cut.
Okay.
And I think literally there's 8 games I'd just instantly go, bang, that one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly add one, but then kind of delete it because going off the
Hang on.
personal.
Are we cutting
thing.
Smash Brothers?
I would, but it's.
I think we have to.
If you want to keep it, I'm not going to argue.
I want to cut it. I don't think it's a big surprise.
have-
Like when the reviews came out, I guessed it would be like that. I figured it would be 10s.
Do we have it in any other category? Hang on, let me check. Oh, I do.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I can go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sort of add on a
Yeah.
personal note just below, finally getting that release date.
Yeah,
But
that's
obviously,
true,
it's
yeah.
not going to make a list. It was just one of those things
No,
that
but-
it's like, you know what, I think that deserves a mention just because I've been waiting years for that
Yeah,
game.
but I would also disagree because they did say to us, and you're the one who did the interview, that it will be this year, and they kept their word.
Yeah, I was ready to be like, what are you doing? You lied to me.
No, it's it. But I'm gonna suggest Moonlighter. I bet I'm the only one that's played it.
No, I played. Did I review it?
I can't remember who reviewed it. That's why
I think I reviewed it. But
I think Moonlight is a lovely game.
Yes.
A really interesting game, I will say.
I thought, very original.
That's exactly it. Very interesting, very original. I think it's coming to Switch. I can't remember if it's the
I
end
think
of
it's
the
out.
year.
Yeah, I
It might
think
be
it
out,
just,
okay,
just came out, I think.
Just such a unique idea, a unique twist on the roguelike.
Yeah.
You know, like you are the stuff you get in a dungeon. You are actually then the shopkeeper. It's got an economy. Do you know? I want to play more of that game, but I'm also a realist, and there's no way it's going to be some huge surprise that it's going to be in the top 5. Because there's some games we haven't mentioned here that are just that blew my socks off with what I wasn't expecting from them. Like, and I think Moonlighter, as good as it is, and I'm pleased that we talked about it here, has to go.
Yeah. I would also suggest, even though I put it on there, Yoku's Island Express.
I was going there next with
Yeah.
it. Again, I never
Great.
finished it. Lovely game,
Yeah.
but
Brilliant game, so much fun. Again, really unique idea.
what, being a postman?
Yeah. But, it was the whole... I mean, you remember watching my video of it.
Yeah.
I was genuinely like, holy shit, this is a pinball game.
Oh, yeah, of course,
that
it was a
was-
pinball game.
Yeah.
That
Shit.
was like such a nice little twist, and it was just it's a beautiful game to look at as well, but it's not a top 5.
I'm going to actually take it off, but I'm going to add Moonlighter and Yoku's Island, sorry for the typing as usual, Yoku's Island Express into another category. I'm not going to say which yet, but yeah.
I'm gonna jump
Go
in
on.
here.
Is that gone? Okay, we're cutting them like mad here. This is good. Go on.
I'm gonna jump in here and mention a
Don't
game
you say it.
that could have easily hit top 5 in this category if it wasn't for the second half of the game unfortunately not doing anything for me.
Okay, I know where you're going now. Okay.
And that is The Messenger.
Oh no, I thought you were going somewhere else. No, Adam.
No, listen, no, Adam Cole. Let's get
This
real
hurts.
for a second here. No, we're getting
Right.
real early
don't
on
want
this
to.
list, okay?
Shit.
We both
I feel like I need some popcorn.
we both know that game for the first 4 or 5 hours is absolutely fantastic. Does it do
Fucking
anything
incredible
new in
game.
those first 5 hours? Not necessarily, but the controls, like there's been a lot of good games that came out this year that like are just, the controls are super tight. Dead Cells being another one that probably we'll be talking about later on, but The Messenger, the first half of that game is great. The music is great. When you eventually like get to understand that,
Adam,
like,
the music isn't just great; it's incredible.
It's incredible.
The music in that game is. Adam,
incredible.
I'm going to say this again in another category. When you go underwater in that game,
I
man,
know. It's
that's. I'm going to put that on moment of the year list because the second. So for those who haven't played it, it's like an 8-bit soundtrack, and then you hit water, and it changes to reflect you underwater, but it's like instant, and it's not many games do it, but when they do it, I love that. And that game's
It's great.
I know what you're saying. You're hurting me here. I
man,
know what you're
I don't
saying.
want to do this either because you were there to me, Adam. You need to get The Messenger. It's like great, bought it, played it. I remember literally texting you going, "This is amazing," and then that turn happens. And are we spoiling stuff on this, by the way?
Well,
we
I didn't
there?
think we would need to in day one, but generally speaking, as we progress further through the awards, they get more spoilery. I don't think this is a huge spoiler
It's not,
because I feel
really.
like they put this out there, but just in case you want to know nothing about the big twist in The Messenger, 3, 2, 1, Adam.
It literally becomes a Metroidvania game.
Yeah.
And that is...
It goes from being a side-scrolling platformer to a Metroidvania.
No, that's...
It also goes from 8-bit to 16-bit as well.
Yeah, it does.
I
And
think
that's
they
not
did
bad.
put that in the trailer, though, didn't they?
I think they probably did, yeah.
And I do have to say, right, it's not that this is bad, it's just I'm at a point where I don't really want these Metroidvania games anymore unless it's Metroid or Castlevania. I'm just like, I'm just flooded with it right now.
Well, let's not forget Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
No, I've never played that. I still have to play it. I'm sorry.
No, that's the one that's coming out next year. I mean, Blind Forest is...
The Blind Forest, I
said
I
I've got it
played.
to play, but I need to play it.
Like,
I was just going to ignore that, Gary.
Is The Messenger going to be in the top 5, Adam? As a nice big surprise, because it would have been if it stayed the way I personally loved it.
I'll be honest, finding out that twist makes me want to play it more.
The argument you're making, because I've experienced it, is actually an argument for should this be in biggest disappointment. Because if that game...
Yeah.
continued in the Metroidvania, the halfway split, and it turns to a Metroidvania. If it did that, but there was some quest markers that gave you more of an indication as to where you go, I would be putting this in my top 5 of the whole year.
And that's what I was
that good.
That's what I was just going to respond to Gary with, because Gary just said hearing that it's a Metroidvania makes him want to play it more. Like, the thing is, guys, this game becomes insanely confusing, and it's
you have no idea where you're supposed to go.
Where you're
it's
going.
literally riddles.
Like, you're doing all this like teleportation stuff, whatever, and you're like, where the fuck am I ending up now? And the map,
and it still plays great. Like, through those moments, it still feels amazing. It sounds amazing. But it just loses every sense of direction. And
the thing is,
I don't
Adam,
get it.
You did say
didn't they update that though with that recent update? They added like New Game Plus, but they also added in some new stuff to make it a bit more accessible.
I haven't played it since because I just fell off the deep end. But it's like, I can't believe they've done this.
That's exactly.
I was addicted to it for 3 days, non-stop playing it.
That's exactly why, Adam. I don't know why you'd battle this to go further. If you just said right now that you just stopped after it got to that area because it just wasn't doing it for you, that's a clear sign, man, of a game that shouldn't probably be in the top 5.
Okay, but look, I think if we're cutting a game that good from this list, I think that Warhammer and Thronebreaker also need to go.
Well,
personally, I think The Messenger is an amazing game.
It is
an incredible surprise that it just came from nowhere, and it's just this amazing soundtrack. The visuals are awesome. It plays so tight. Because the thing, you look at a game like that and you go, yeah, but it's in the playing, and it plays so tight.
It really does.
And I feel like if that can't make a nice surprise list, and I'm deleting it now, fair enough. I don't see how Thronebreaker, a game by CD Projekt Red, and Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is literally a sequel to the first one, could be in this list.
As a counter, then, if we're getting rid of 2 games that I put on the list, I want Onrush to stay.
That's fine with me.
Like that's like my bold statement.
The only thing is, I also feel that Onrush is a very strong contender in the next category, which I'm not going to say what it is.
But it's very different reasons.
But
yes, yeah.
But
I'm
we've still got 11 games here.
I will just say, like, Vermintide 2, I think because of just how much he's basically a Left 4 Dead game.
Left 4 Dead, yeah.
And
guys, I'm doing it a disservice saying it's a sequel, but the first one was also like it, just not as good.
It was just, this one was just so much more polished, and it was great fun. So much fun. I need to go back and play it again.
Is anyone going to argue with me for cutting Warhammer Vermintide 2 and Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales?
Nope.
No, I think Thronebreaker is astoundingly good, but I suppose maybe just because it was CD Projekt Red, people didn't really go, oh, okay, that's not going to be good or anything like that.
Well, I actually heard on a major podcast the other day, I hadn't heard of this game until now, and it's like it's come out on console. Wow. It had already been out on PC. It's definitely under which kind of makes me think not many people have heard of it. So I don't know. It's a big surprise.
Well, it didn't sell that well, did it? Because I remember because GOG turned around and said, sorry, Good Old Games, GOG.com said, we made a mistake of not putting it on Steam as well, or at least putting it only on GOG.com. I think maybe they were right. I think since it might have released on Steam.
It might have done. I think it has. I am deleting those 2 games unless anyone has reason not to.
I think I'm probably the only one who would have fought for either of them.
Yeah. I think Thronebreaker is going to be that game when I play it eventually. I'm going to be looking back at this going, damn it.
I mean, some of the stuff that it does is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think we've got 9 games left, just to quickly recap. FIFA, Octopath Traveler. Well, actually, no, before we do, I wonder if Octopath needs to be cut as well. We've not talked about it yet, so it's sort of just stayed on by hook of that, but
I haven't played it, so I have to kind of defer to others on this one.
It's a lovely looking game. It's got a nice soundtrack. It plays well. It's very, very long. I don't know that anyone was surprised by it because they released demos, which meant everyone could play it. And while it was a great game, I think there's bigger surprises, 5 bigger surprises on this list.
I don't know. It kind of hurts me. All right.
Hang on. We've got 9 games. Let's go around the room again and get one that we want to keep each. Let's do that. That way we know the games we're fighting for the hardest. Ad, you start.
Okay, the game I'm fighting for the hardest is Monster Hunter World.
Fucking knew that was going to be it. Yep. Okay, Gaz.
Onrush.
Yep. Chris.
Okay, I'm gonna guess what you're gonna say, so I'm gonna say a different one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for Astrobot.
I'm hearing such good things about that.
Shit. Well, I'm going to go for Tetris Effect.
Oh, Jesus.
But I was hoping Chris was going to go for one of 2 other games.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, yeah.
God.
I will say, I do think maybe Octopath goes, and if we are going, if we're doing that, I will say that the E3 stuff on the Microsoft stuff can go,
and FIFA. Come
on.
COD. FIFA.
No, COD. Oh. Chris, I thought you'd go for COD.
No, mate. No,
COD everyone had written COD off, right? Everyone had written that game off. Black Ops 4. They haven't even bothered with a single player. It's the best one in years. It's got the. Bloody hell! Yeah, another game doing battle royale. It's the best one.
No, it is. It's very good. But as a surprise, is it a surprise that Call of Duty are going to make a really good battle royale in first person with the COD controls?
It is to me after playing the betas. I thought that game was going to be a car crash, and it's the best COD in years. That's blown my mind. They took out the thing I liked the most about Call of Duty, the bombastic, silly single player. They took it out, and they somehow made the better game for it. It's like, actually, we'll use the resources to make the multiplayer even better, and they did it.
I also want to say the zombies are outrageously good fun. Zombie mode is so good. But I have a bit of a story with Monster Hunter that I'll get to. But yeah,
let's talk about Octopath. Is Octopath staying or going?
I've never played it, so I can't say either way. I would cut it, but that's only because I've never played it.
Because you haven't got to spend 60 hours to have played this in December.
I know,
really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think Octopath is. I think it's it is definitely one of my favourite JRPGs of this year. It's so good, and
yeah, it is.
And I think, as you said, Adam, it's long and stuff, but that's kind of why, to get this quality of a game of that genre on the Switch, and I know that line is a thing, but it's perfect for me, and it worked for me. I always say it's the reason I still haven't finished Persona, is because I want it on a handheld like Persona 4 and the Vita. Octopath, its art style is amazing. The gameplay is really, really fucking good. It just takes a lot from the Bravely series, obviously, and
yeah.
I for the most part, I enjoy the characters. I like. There's nothing groundbreaking in its protagonist, but I still didn't get annoyed like a different JRPG that we'll get to down the line. But
well, hang on. Let's go around the room again and vote for another game. You can vote for a game that you haven't voted for. So I can't vote for Tetris Effect again, but any of you guys can.
Okay.
And let's see where we are after that. Let's go with you again, Adam. So any of the games that you haven't voted for that you would like to keep still? It has to be just one.
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna even. Oh Jesus, I don't know. This is brutal. This is I'm going.
Not so easy when you're on the podcast.
I'm going between 2 right now. Fuck it. I know.
Do you want me to come back to you?
Yeah, please.
Gary, can you give us a second?
I think purely off what others have said, because I haven't played it, it'd be Monster Hunter.
Okay.
I would stay.
Okay, Chris?
Tetris.
Thank God for that. God. This isn't gonna. The thing is, if I pick the game I want, it's not gonna actually help us. I'm gonna Oh shit, it's not easy. Adam, have you got one yet? Because I need some time now.
Okay, I'm going to say, because I've never once had this kind of choice, but because of just how the particular time of the game coming out, and just how I just used to come home from work and be like, yeah, I just want to blast on this and have a go and have fun, I'm going to give it to Call of Duty.
Okay, wow.
And I know that's the thing. Like, Octopad is once again that thing. I love it, but I'm used to those kind of games. I've never had a Call of Duty game where I've been like, since like at least Modern Warfare, the first one, you know?
Well, now you've picked that and got that in the sort of 5, I'm going to go Astrobot for my second choice. And which means we would cut Unravel 2, which we nearly cut early on. We would cut Microsoft Studio announcements, we cut Octopath, and we cut FIFA 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, to be honest, out of all of them, the only one I expected an argument was for FIFA, and if Chris is happy for it to go, then I think that's...
I mean, I think he's like me, he's not happy for it to go.
No, but it's like...
I think you're right. I think, again, it's like, I'm not passionate enough to argue that against Call of Duty. Like, I'm not saying COD is a bad... Like, I think Black Ops 4 is excellent. I just thought others were better, but I'm not going to argue it. I think it's a good game.
So I think COD comes in at 5th. I think just by the hook of the fact that I think it should be on the list, and Adam does too. But no one's. I think if it's between COD and Onrush, I would say Onrush, because I know nothing about that game, and that game is amazing.
Yeah. And again, like for me, it was a personal thing of it. You know, someone said to me, "Are you going to play an online racing game?"
Yeah.
Well, that isn't really a racing game. You know, I was just kind of okay. You know, well, wasn't really that. Even though it's the Motorstorm guys, I was still like, okay, well, you know, not that bothered. But playing it's just a delight to play.
I mean, I think Onrush is 4th and Call of Duty is number 5. I think the problem we've got is that we've all kind of voted equally for the top 3, which is Tetris, Monster Hunter, and Astrobot, and I think we need to try and get them into a top 3.
I'd be honest, I'd say Astrobot, just purely for what others have said. I think Astrobot would be number 3. And it's one of the other 2 that hits number 1.
See, I'd actually disagree and have Astrobot at number 1.
Whoa!
Really?
What?
Yeah, I think that game's incredible. Like
Wow.
Astrobot, and the thing is, not only is it like a VR game, it gets better as you play it. Like as the whale level. I don't want to spoil things, but the whale level, the underwater stuff, like the ingenuity, the clever design. It's Adam Carroll needs to play this. As a long-time Nintendo fan, this game feels like a 3D Mario game.
Yeah, I've heard
good.
such good things.
Exceptional. And as I say, it never I mean, Chris reviews it, he knows this, but it never reuses mechanics. It just gives you new ones. The level design gets more interesting. Like, the bosses are they're just incredible. Like the first one where you fight a monkey and you have to knock his tooth out, and you use the hook that's a grapple from your controller, and you think, wow, that's amazing. And then you face the second one where it's like a lava octopus, and again, it's like, this is mind-blowing. And I just can't believe how good it is. It's exceptional. Like if it weren't that, for me, it would be Tetris. But I would understand why people would argue Monster Hunter above Tetris, because Monster Hunter is a series I've played many times, tried many, many times, and finally loved it this year. And I totally get it's the Smash Brothers argument. I think that I would make that I can't believe I liked it, but I think it's on a grander scale of like, I can't believe everyone liked Monster Hunter World. Like, Monster Hunter World, it's like. And I don't feel like there was what you expect when that kind of thing happens is all the people who've played it for 10 years or more be going like, oh yeah, finally got it. There kind of wasn't any that I saw of that. It was kind of like, yeah, like, we're really glad you like it. Like this means that we'll get more of them. You know, like personally, I'd have Astrobot, Tetris, Monster Hunter, but I think Tetris is not going to make the top 2.
I think if you're pushing Astrobot to number 1. Then I do think it'd be swapping with Tetris.
The thing is, Tetris Effect is higher on my personal Game of the Year list. But this is not that. This is a nicest / biggest surprise. Is it a surprise that a Tetris game is good? maybe because some Tetris games have been really shit, but this one combines everything, and it's just like probably the ultimate Tetris game for me because of the music as well and the VR aspect. But I totally get why people would say, hang on, Monster Hunter World was a worldwide phenomenon.
Yes.
It's
For a series
Hunter,
that
lads.
was just basically a nerd series, that, you know, not... It's. I mean, we're
Oh,
all
so
nerds.
good you're here, Gary.
We're all nerds, so it's like it doesn't matter. But you know what I mean? It's like it was a game
don't
that
know.
only a select. It was very niche, essentially.
Like I say, I tried many
least
more.
in the West.
I hated the 3DS games. Hated them. The Wii U one I even tried. Still, it's a horrible game to play. And yet, World, and I still think there's a lot of room for improvement. But I can't argue Monster Hunter being at least in the top 2. I would argue personally Astrobot, but again, not my list. If you guys are saying Monster Hunter, I will yield in this case, obviously.
So I'm just gonna jump in and quickly say that like Monster Hunter is my number one because like a lot of people, I'm new to this series, first ever game, whatever. The thing was, Monster Hunter World in a nutshell for me is a game that I wish I had in my life when I didn't have to be an adult, right? When I could actually just stay in my bedroom, didn't have to care about money, and just play online all the time in Monster Hunter. Like, this is the thing, right? When this game came out, joining you, Adam, Chris,
Mick.
with Mick for a while, that moment, and it was pretty brief, but we got about a month out of it, I'd say, like online.
Yeah, I mean, it had me staying up late, and if you guys know me, but anyone who knows me, that's rare.
Like, I'm not an online gamer, but like when something grabs me like this, I'm in, right? And the thing was, Monster Hunter, I know this is just a thing that the series does in general, but the experience of going, oh right, so it's actually genuinely like this intense fight that will go on for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and you're in it together and you're all supporting each other.
Diablos.
And the thing about it is
that night, me and Chris, I'm sure it was you, Chris, wasn't it? We took on Diablos
Mind
repeatedly.
Me.
mind
And
blowing.
I think we were all like, we should go to bed now, but there was like, maybe we just give it one more
We've got
go.
one more shot, right?
And
And
you two were smashing the shit out of it. I'm firing like bullets from you to heal you, bullets at it to stop it, and
then we thought we got it, and then he fucked off into that wall and disappeared.
he just disappeared. He just like, I'm off by God.
You see, that alone was so frustrating, but we were determined to get him, and we were like, I remember we had the little group on like Slack or something. We were just back and forth about it, going, that fucker, we're going to get him tonight and stuff. And the thing is, I've never like done that kind of online gaming ever before. I know it's the world now, like Fortnite and all that kind of stuff, but I've never done it. I've done World of Warcraft, and that was the only one that I've done. But this was such an unbelievable joy. It was so much fun, and the rewards were so good. And I just felt for that moment of time, for me, it was one of my favourites of the year in gaming. Like, I loved...
So are we saying Tetris Effect is number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Okay. Go on.
do you know what? Like, with Tetris Effect going to number 3, I'm just going to say that I think Onrush should be in the top 3. I think Onrush, guys, we honestly, we all like that game, and it really did take us all by surprise, and this is the biggest surprise category. Like, Tetris is really good, no doubt, but it's Tetris, and it's just a good Tetris game. A really good one.
Oh, man. See...
But you don't know how much Tetris affected me. Like,
Hey.
Nicely done.
oh shit, I didn't even mean that. If I meant that, I'll edit that.
No, I completely know, and I can't really jump in because I haven't experienced it in the VR mode, whatever. But like, Onrush was just, I was like, holy shit, this is like an amazing racer, and it's just so addictive. And I think everyone on the Guards Geek team agreed with that. Like, it's not just us in the podcast. Everyone who's played Onrush has been like, it's really good. And I think the people who've made it deserve the credit because they've done everything to put it in people's view. Like, they've basically given it away for nothing, like, since its release. Do you know what I mean? And I think it warrants to be in the top 3 at least. Tetris has had years to be a good game, and it's always been a good
don't
game.
have a go at Tetris. They could both be good. Chris, I need to know what you think.
I'm happy as it is. I'm sorry, but like Astrobot was incredible. That's definitely a second. And like Tetris, you say the music and everything to do with it. Like I was expecting it to be Tetris with some colours, some pretty colours, but I got so much more. I got so much more out of it, and that was a massive surprise to me because I wasn't expecting anything like the game I got. I'm not like Onrush. It's very good. It is very good, but I didn't know anything about it, and I played it. I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is really good." But it's not like a surprise to me because I had no expectations going in. That's purely on the surprise in the title of this thing. That's all I'm going off. It was Tetris was a genuine surprise to me. Astrobot was a surprise. Monster Hunter World, what we got out of it, I'd never expected that in a million years. I didn't think it because when I went to preview it, it was like, yeah, this could be quite good, but it surpassed that completely. So that's where I stand on anyway.
Oh god, I think we need to take a vote. I think I can't win this fight, Monster Hunter World. And to be fair, I understand it. I do understand it. It's not my list; it's our list. And I think Monster Hunter 1, Astrobot 2. The thing is, even though I prefer Tetris Effect to Onrush, I think Adam's argument's rather compelling. I mean, I knew Tetris was going to be Tetris, and Onrush shocked me for so many reasons because it's coming from Codemasters who generally make simulation races.
Yeah.
You know, you have the other games that are simulation but are more fun based, but this is not a racing game really.
Exactly, and like where they've basically taken the genre and tried to do something different, I credit them massively for that.
I'm going to vote with Adam. This because this isn't the game of the year list. This is the nicest or biggest surprise. I'm gonna vote with Adam. Say Onrush number 3, which leaves it to Gary and Chris to sort of cast their votes.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not. I think you're right. I mean, you're right. What you're saying completely. For me, it was Tetris, but Onrush, Onrush was good, and I'm not passionate enough to argue against it.
What do you got to say, guys?
I'm not 100% because I just like. Yeah, we all expect a Tetris game to be good, but I wasn't expecting the level of like passion coming from it from people that are playing it.
So we've got a problem here because if you're voting for Tetris and Chris then says, "Well, I'm going to vote for Tetris," we've got a draw. It's just we have to flip a coin or call it a tie.
I mean, I'm happy for it to go that way, but I don't know. I feel it should at least be mentioned that Tetris was.
Let me change tact, right? Let's say this. It's not going to, but let's say it was a top 3, and the 2 of them games had to go. Obviously, Call of Duty drops off the bottom there. Which game between Onrush and Tetris would you be happy to see drop off the bottom? And well, I mean, no, not happy to see, but happy to see in that third spot mostly. In the spirit of the award.
Yeah, I mean, put that way, then yeah, I'd say Onrush would be the third. Yeah.
It also like Tetris is gonna. Tetris is Tetris. It's gonna make money. Onrush is basically dead. The director doesn't work for Codemasters anymore, so it kind of feels good to be giving it a third place. And I know that shouldn't come into it, but it does for me.
Yeah.
So Are we happy?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure, Chris?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm settling.
Okay.
Nah,
right. Nicest or biggest surprise? In 5th place, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. In 4th place, Tetris Effect. In 3rd place, Onrush. 2nd place, Astrobot Rescue Mission. In 1st place, the biggest and nicest surprise of the year, Monster Hunter World. The final category for today is biggest disappointment, the kind of opposite of nicest surprise. And last year, I haven't read these until now. Number 1 on last year's biggest disappointment was everything to do with Mass Effect Andromeda. Number 2 was Ukulele. Number 3 was Visceral Games and other studios' closure. Number 4 was the Xbox exclusive activity. And number 5 was FIFA on Switch. This year we have, 19 options to pick 5 from. Right, let's just go down the list. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Onrush, Destiny 2, Detroit Become Human, PES 2019, Far Cry 5, Battlefield V or 5, The Inpatient, Devil May Cry HD Collection, Telltale Games, Kirby Star Allies, Just Cause 4, We Happy Few, State of Decay 2, that rhymed, Fallout 76, Nintendo Labo, Call of Cthulhu, Darksiders 3, and Agony. Can we cut Agony right away? Because who in the name of the gods thought that was going to be a good game anyway?
Yeah, I'm happy for that to go.
I think Bongo Billy's had access to my emails, and
I think he has, mate. Yeah.
so yeah.
Right, that's got you down to an unwieldy 18.
Do we really need the Devil May Cry HD collection? Was anyone really that bothered?
It was awful.
But was anyone really that bothered about it in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue top 5, but I love those games, and then it was an awful HD collection. Terrible. Like,
I just don't think it was particularly a disappointment. 'Cause I mean, most people have played them already anyway.
Yeah, but like that is a collection that should have been in the first awards list. That's a collection that Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, and I think 4, wasn't it? I can't even remember now. But that should have been in the best re-release or remake. That's right. Like, I don't know, man. If I'm on my own, then I'll delete it. But
I haven't played it.
I'm happy to delete it.
Okay, that's gone then. 17.
Right, I'll tell you right now, get rid of Far Cry.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about the ending, then that's not really fair, it being on this
No, that
list.
game is a lot of fun.
Because the game itself was fucking incredible. So I don't think this should be on this list.
So what about if we changed it to Far Cry 5's ending? If I do this?
No, you can't be doing that. If we're doing that, then Jesus Christ, you could pick out all these things in the games. Like,
but last year we had everything to do with Mass Effect. We had, you know...
But no, I'd still...
And he's got a point. I've not finished it, so...
I'd still delete it because... Like, it didn't... Like, it wasn't great, but it didn't make me think, oh, fuck, I've wasted my whole time playing it. Like, I still adored the thing. So
if it wasn't like a game ruiner, then...
No, it wasn't like Mass Effect 3.
I suppose
now.
I suppose the thing about Far Cry 5's ending is that I won't bother spoiling it because it doesn't need spoiling to explain my point. But I think it's such a strange muted ending, and I think in many ways you should kind of commend it because a lot of games they give you the happy ending, not that kind. But in Far Cry 5 they kind of the outcome isn't what you expect it to be, and I think it's kind of nice to subvert expectations. I just don't think it does it very well, but. Yeah, okay, that's deleted.
I mean, I'd get rid of Darksiders, but I'm assuming it's on here as the console versions.
Yeah, we're talking about its reception, like certain games' reception.
I'm talking about the game. No, I'm talking about the game.
Onrush should be gone.
Oh, really?
It's not a disappointing game, is it?
I think it's a hugely disappointing game.
But why was it in the biggest surprises? Because...
No, it wasn't.
No, Onrush.
Darksiders.
Oh, Darksiders.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Darksiders.
No, I was going to... Because I said
Onrush
by
is
that...
the reception in it.
Yeah, because by that
the sales, all that lot.
See, Onrush is a weird one because I think for me the disappointment is that it didn't get the audience it deserved.
Yeah.
But that is such an oblique concept that it's like...
I do think it's worth thinking about, though, because... It's a game that
we've had concepts on it, so I mean...
Yeah, it's a game that really should have done better.
So if we put Onrush's reception or longevity or something...
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I
mean, Detroit Become Human I put on it because it was finally the game that broke me with David Cage, but I don't think anyone else really expected it. I was shocked at how many people liked it. I thought the story was fucking awful. Like,
I remember you saying.
like it looks amazing. Like I remember saying to Chris, "Don't play this," but also definitely play it because I need you to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need you to. But like, it's so fucking bleak. That like there's no point you'd want when you know how bleak it is. Like. I don't play games for that. I play games that make me feel emotions like happiness and sadness. But there's not many games I play where it's like just unrelenting bleakness, just miserable, like fucking make me hate myself and everyone.
Yeah.
Make me and do you know what? I'd be alright with it if it was written better. It's just a badly written game. I'm sorry, I don't like saying that.
Like if it was written like The Last of Us, that kind of level of quality, then it'd be worth it.
The Last of Us is a bleak game, but Detroit is a bleak game that's badly written.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a disappointment because I don't know. I like his games, but I wasn't expecting it to be a 10 out of 10. I certainly wasn't expecting it to be a 5, but I think it's an easy cut. I think.
Yeah.
And I think the Impatient's an easy cut as well. It's a depressing cut because the Impatient should have been better. Like it's by the Until Dawn team, and it starts off and it's fucking horrifically frightening, and then within 2 hours it's over, and you're like, oh, really? You really ran out of tricks real quick. But like in terms of biggest disappointments, I mean, I'm cutting a lot
I'm
here.
happy to delete the Impatient.
Did you play it, Chris?
Yeah, I played it.
Did you see what I mean? Like, it actually starts off and you're like, wow, this is pants-shittingly scary.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It loses that.
I gotta say, I thought it was pretty arse.
Like, the first hour's good, the second hour's dreadful, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it just annoys me because I just want Until Dawn 2. That's just the only thing.
Yeah.
Why haven't we got that?
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
I don't know.
Let's cut the Impatient then. Someone else cut some games.
I think we should cut Kirby Star Allies because, look...
Oh, Adam, that is a terrible game,
Yeah,
please.
but we expect it to be good.
Yeah, no,
Kirby
you
games
weren't.
are
Come on.
usually good, to be fair.
I was expecting a better game than I think I gave it a 4. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Like it's a Nintendo first party Switch exclusive. I was not expecting a pants game like that.
Yeah, but it's like...
It
was probably going to be pants,
argue.
Like that was the thing.
People will argue against me and my review and say, "Oh, but it's meant for kids." My kids didn't want to play it. It was too easy. It's too easy for a pig to play. You could put a pig in front of a controller and it would.
Like, all I'm saying is
that game is insulting to the intelligence. I'm sorry, but
would you have
I
it as a
appreciate
top 5 though?
No, but my top 5 is going to be a difficult argue because Darksiders is in my top 5, and there's no way I'm not even going to try that fight because
strap in, folks. This is going to get fucking heated. All right.
My top 5's a weird one for this list because probably my biggest disappointment this year is PES.
Yep.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
Massively.
Wow.
Like, I played it for the review. Did I review it or you? I can't even remember if I reviewed it. That's how much. I think I reviewed it,
and you couldn't review it for a while. Because there's just
that's right. Because
there.
listen, this isn't the Konami hate podcast, but like that game, like if you're going to supply it to reviewers, which we were one of the few apparently who got it really early, and I know that because I know other people who didn't get it until release date or at all. Turn the servers on if there's a massive online component. FIFA did it.
Yeah.
You can do it too. Make the game playable. It took me ages to review it because the thing is, so much of that game is online. I had the game for 2.5, I think nearly 3 weeks, and I played loads of it to get the gameplay, but I couldn't play any of the modes, and it was so bare bones in terms of what they added. And on top of that, there's this weird thing with the font where it looks like every single picture, every single letter has been stuck together like some sort of bloody kidnapping poster. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, that someone's cut the letters out of newspapers and magazines and stuck in. Look, I don't. Yeah, like
I remember
it's all
you
off
saying
balance. Look, I sent pictures to multiple people saying, please tell me my eyes aren't going wonky, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing in the 2018 video game.
I remember, because didn't you get your wife to come in to look at it, because you're like,
I did.
am I going weird
I
here?
got Claire to do it. I think I sent Chris a picture, I sent Colum at Video Gamer a picture, I sent multiple people pictures saying, am I going mad or is this fucked up? And everyone was like, oh wow, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I just don't understand how that makes it into a game in this year, this day and age. And I loved PES 2018, and PES 2019 plays amazingly, but everything around it other than the actual gameplay is really poor, to the point where it's like, you need to sort yourselves out, Konami, because if you don't, this game's going to die, and I don't want that.
Well, and it's been added to Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like...
But nobody wants it on Xbox, Gaz, because you can't put your own kits in it. It makes people angry. That, and although that is not a Konami thing, that is a Microsoft not allowing you to access the data in that way, it still means no one wants it on Xbox.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, like, if I'm going to put a game in bold, I'm going to do it right now, and I'm going to say PES. But I'm happy for you guys to cut Kirby for the reasons you've stated. Okay?
I'm happy with that.
Okay. So someone else cut games, because I'm cutting games here.
Battlefield V.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time with that recently, and I'm very much in love with it. I would say, if you're talking about content, there's not a lot at the minute, but the Battle Royale's gone live either now or in a few days.
I thought it was January.
Is something's, I don't know. Something's going live in
It might have done. I have not paid attention to it because the way they put the release dates for it was so weird.
Yes, but
that like no one knew when it was out or not.
Like the conquest in Battlefield V is just amazing. Like I've always loved that mode, and it's just seamless. So I think it's one of the, like, you saw that Call of Duty video this year. I'm just so shit at it. Whereas Battlefield V, it feels like it's for the older gamer, because you could be a bit more kind of tactical with it, and you've got more time to breathe and pay attention to who your target is or where you're going, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much. And I think the story modes, whilst not quite on the same level as Battlefield 1, are still interesting and they're still gripping in similar ways that was. So I don't think it deserves to be on the biggest disappointment, because it's not a disappointment. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
No, that's that, and you know what? Fair enough. I'm okay to cut that if Gaz and Adam are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to jump in and just get straight to probably the biggest disappointment with it being Telltale Games. Okay. Reason. I think we should cut it, because I just think it's a disappointment.
Wow.
It is a disappointment. It's no doubt about it. But
it's the biggest disappointment, I would have said.
It is, but it is the biggest. But it's like you had Pez. That you did say that is your biggest disappointment. But that
pales in significance when you're talking about an entire studio that just suddenly went, bye-bye, we're gone. 200 employees, bye-bye. Oh, no severance, no healthcare. Sorry, you're gone. It's the sort of thing that in this industry just shouldn't happen.
Well,
like,
then
this is supposed to be an
that's
advanced industry full of people on the cutting edge of technology, and it turns out that actually we're just really stuck in the past, and like there aren't any protections for people. There's no unionization. To me, Telltale Games epitomizes disappointing. Like, not only did they fuck everyone over from fans to staff, like someone's bailing them out, and it's just like, it's just the biggest mess. And thus, for me, Telltale Games is like, for me, if you're doing a top 5, that's number 1, and the other 4, it's like, yeah, just throw them in there. Cause
then if we make that up, then fine, because like we have to obviously talk about that, and like if we're going to start battling like, oh no, Tomb Raider's way more disappointing than Telltale closing down, then I don't know what the fuck is happening. But like,
I mean, again, that's personal stuff. I think Telltale Games is horrendous closure, the way it was handled, the way they were like threw their hands up in the air like, well, sorry, the way they sort of said, oh, we're going to keep someone, and then dumped them as well. It's just disgustingly disappointing. And like, to me, it's almost like it's almost like the biggest Telltale Games category. You know, it's personally, again, I'm the only one saying it. If you three agree, then we can stick that number 1 and work out the 4 after it. But
I would say it's number 1. I'm not really a Telltale fan, but that kind of doesn't matter on this point, because it's like, you know, these guys, like you said, they disappeared. They were basically they were just screwed completely. And I don't really think there's any argument against that.
Hang on.
Personally.
Have you had to make up the Nintendo Labo? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
See, I put that in.
I'm joking.
I put Labo here because I felt like they didn't kind of deliver, but then I don't know what I was really expecting
Labo's
them
definitely
to deliver.
there.
So it's,
but you know, I 100% agree.
Okay.
Telltale was the saddest thing that happened this year.
Okay. As long as we all agree it's number 1, because I think when that list was, when we made that list, I looked at it and went, that has to be number 1. Like, there's no argument there.
Yeah.
It's either number 1 or we cut it. It can't go anywhere else.
No, it's number 1. It's number 1.
I would cut Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know I played the preview and I was super excited about it, and then obviously the full game was just but yeah, it wasn't a huge disappointment. It was because it was more of a personal thing, and it was more of a quick turnaround. You know,
I
was really excited, and then suddenly it wasn't.
I think of, oh, that's a bad game, not, oh, that's a disappointing game.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a bad game. I'd just say it was a disappointing game.
I'm going to say that it's a massive disappointment personally for me. I hit a game-breaking bug and I couldn't continue.
Yeah.
I reloaded as far as I could go back, and the only solution was to start it all over again. So to me,
No way.
that game can go fuck itself. Like,
well, we need some cuts here. Like Destiny 2, is that an easy cut? Because I don't think anyone here cares enough to, you know.
No, I mean, I loved Destiny 1, but I mean, I was massively disappointed in Destiny 2, but not enough for it to be like it's one of the worst things for the year. It was almost like I just didn't care enough.
I would also cut Just Cause 4, because I would say, even though I've had a couple of issues with like bugs, I'm very much enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I love playing it. It might not be as good as the last one or the last couple or whatever, but I'm still enjoying it, and I've not once thought this is disappointing.
See, the thing that I put that on the list because I'm same as you. I really like a lot of that game, but the actual missions that you have to do to progress the story are so bad. Like, how did they come up with such creative world, the creative traversal, creative grappling hook stuff, and then just go, fuck it, phone the missions in. Have someone go to a console. Oh, go to another console. Defend this console. Oh, no, you need to get these 4 consoles in 60 seconds. How did they make such boring missions in such an incredible gameplay world? But yeah, it's not one of the biggest disappointments. I'll delete it. But I just wanted to get that in there. I just can't believe how poor the creativity is when it comes to the mission designers in that game.
I don't.
Are we cutting Cthulhu?
Yeah, I would.
It's still there.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
still saying cut Darksiders because I don't think it's any. I mean, I know, even with some issues that I know you've had, I don't think it's anywhere near the top 5 biggest disappointments.
See, it is for me, but I understand. I
have played it. I haven't mentioned this yet, but I played a little bit of it, and I'm kind of enjoying it. I think it's got a few things that are different, but I do quite like it. But then that's only after a couple of hours, so I can't really.
I don't think I'm going to get anyone with me on how disappointed I am with that game. So I think I will be happy cutting it. Adam?
Yeah, we yeah, okay.
Yeah, 5 have got to go. That makes it 3 that have got to go if we cut Cthulhu and Darksiders. Are we cutting Labo?
No. I don't think. I think it was disappointing in the sense that you spend. I think because it wasn't a tight review, but you have to make every single item to be able to review it, so you can give an opinion on each of the different games. It's not like you can just buy them pre-made. And so that robot took me about 5 to 6 hours to make, and then to just play this one dull game once and never play it again, that's a disappointment. If people are buying this, I know it's not aimed at me, but it's like my kids played it, and again they never asked to play it again. They weren't fussed, and like the first box, like with the piano and the fishing rod, yeah, they're kind of cool once you've made them, and they don't take quite as long. Some take like an hour and a half, others take 3 hours, whatever. Like the piano was cool because there was a lot to it, but like the bike thing, and I don't know, it just was disappointing. Now that they've started to include like Mario Kart and stuff, but I'll just use the controllers, thanks. I don't think you can kind of implement it in anything that people will get it for that reason. So I
think one of the big things with Labo though, I just have to say that like I think it really came out far too late, like just in general in the world, because I just don't really think there's that many kids anymore who really care for or have the passion for something like this. There is kids out there and probably even adults who will look at it and go, that's pretty neat, whatever. But in a world now that like is offering the likes of Fortnite and all these things like Minecraft and VR, like your average 6-year-old is going to be like, I want to do that. I don't want to build this. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like that's just how I feel about it. Like when they announced it, I was like, cool, that is not going to do any good at all. Like, it's just not.
But the reason I ask if it's a disappointment is, what were we expecting? Like, Chris didn't buy it. None of us bought it. We all knew. Chris reviewed it, and so it's a very much a kind of critics problem. Does that make sense? Whereas I feel like none of us bought it because we all knew it was not going to be for us.
Like, when was the last time you heard a kid speak about like Lego and stuff? Not that Lego is dead or anything at all. Like, but you know, like.
Oh, Lego's still huge, though.
Oh, it's 100% still huge. But I'm just saying, in terms of sitting down, creating and things, like that was personally my childhood. I used to get Meccano and Kinects and all this stuff and do that.
My friends' little boys love it. They're always playing with Lego.
But look. So let's put a pin in Labo and say they're keeping it on the list for now. That's still 3 things on this list that's to come off.
Yeah. I'd kind of be happy getting rid of We Happy Few.
Yeah, same.
Because I think
after
even
playing the early access, it was shite.
That's it. Even the early access stuff was kind of, whatever.
It was shite. It was shite.
I don't think
it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected when the final game to come out it was going to be anything mind blowing.
No.
I mean, it was. It was a disappointing game. We were all expecting almost like a BioShock experience, and we didn't get that at all.
Well, we were until the early access that was last year, and then I knew that they were retconning it because they even was saying like we had to basically create a story mode because people got so cross. So from that moment on, I was like, this is not going to be a very good game.
Yeah.
I'm happy to cut. I think when you actually know what that game actually is, I think then you can go, okay, it's either for you or it's not, and it just wasn't for me, and that's that. But it's still.
So why Shadow of the Tomb Raider still there?
Because it was just.
I haven't played it, so I'm just asking you. See.
Yeah, it was one that
I loved those 2 previous games.
Yeah.
Loved them. 100% of the first one. Loved the second one. The third one.
It started off well.
It was gorgeous.
It started off well,
game.
and you get that was that whole thing. The sort of the apocalyptic stuff that was happening, and there was such a kind of tense moment with Lara and Jonah. And it's and they just didn't follow up.
They made her unlikable.
Oh yeah,
they did 100%.
I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it's kind of. They turned her into a full-on psychopath. I know the other 2 games, they were, she was gun-toting thing. It was the Nathan Drake thing. She was killing all the bad guys. In 3, she was just Shadow. Sorry, she was just a full-on psychopath. Like you just didn't want to be anywhere near her.
They also mechanically took a game that, although it was open world, it was kind of more directed still. They took it and made it more open world. Like they gave you towns and shit to go and do side quests. And it's like, no. Just give me that's not what made Tomb Raider good. It's not what made the reboots good. Yeah. They farmed it. They knew they farmed it out to a different studio while the other studio presumably works on the Avengers. Just really disappointed in that game.
That end boss.
So I get that far. I got to the first time. Spoilers, but I don't think anyone cares. You got to the point where I did the first flashback, and it's like, wow! If you hadn't made her as unlikable enough as a grown up, you've made her 10 times more unlikable as a spoiled when it was shit.
Yeah.
Like and in that first scene is when her, again spoilers, but I mean it's Tomb Raider, so everyone knows the story. But that first scene where her dad dies, and yet they do such a poor job because they make her so unlikable. You don't go, oh, Lara. You go, fucking hell.
You know what really bothered me about that though was they'd already done that in Rise. They'd already done the whole thing of her finding her father being killed and stuff like that. And it's like,
that's right.
Why am I seeing this again?
It's Batman, isn't it? It's the Batman or the spider biting Spider-Man. But on top of that, the puzzle in that section was terrible. I got stuck for ages. It's a terrible puzzle. Terrible design.
I didn't. Not in like a braggy way or anything. I'm not being a dick.
No,
I'm just saying I didn't have. I don't know whether I just saw it and just went, oh right, it's that. And I was just kind of lucky and twigged, but it was just.
I think I'd possibly cut it though, Gaz, because. Well, no, do you know what? I wouldn't. I'm more disappointed in Shadow than I am in State of Decay 2.
I am. Out of that because State of Decay 2.
That series.
I absolutely adored State of Decay.
Same.
But State of Decay 2. I think it wasn't so much the game was bad. It was just incredibly, I don't know, buggy, and there was so many problems with it that way. But the actual gameplay was still good. It was still. I mean, they shouldn't have bothered with the fueling up cars thing. That especially when it happened to me, the same thing that happened to you, where the car got flipped, and it's like, oh, that's a car that's gone then.
Yep, that's gone.
It's like. That there were things like that. It was more just it was a buggy experience, and yes, it was incredibly disappointing. But I don't think it's a top 5. Whereas Shadow, I do think is.
I think so too.
I think everyone that played, or most of the people that played Tomb Raider and then Rise of the Tomb Raider loved them. We're expecting something brilliant to kind of end that trilogy.
Yeah, my whole like just quick beef with Tomb Raider is just that like it was showing a genre that was very quickly aging. I don't think they did anything new in terms of like that kind of Uncharted-esque thing. I found the game just insanely predictable, like beat for beat as it went on. I was just like, I know what's going to happen here. Like you can just see it because we've seen it so much.
Yeah.
And then the story, like, it just goes to absolute shit because that, as you say, guys, that last boss battle it's a fucking joke. It's really like, I'm sorry, but when you put time into a video game and that's the end that you're giving me, like this is what you want me to do, like no, like this is not acceptable in terms of like the adventure side of what this game is supposed to be. And they throw in all the cliches like the helicopters, all these things, and you're like, oh god, this game is just really frustrating.
Yeah.
And as you said, Adam, like those little villages and stuff, we don't want them in Tomb Raider. We don't. Like,
nope.
I'm actually at a stage right now with this game that when I finished Shadow of Tomb Raider, I was like, okay, that's enough of this, Lara. I want now to go back to standard Lara, guns at both legs and doing her thing. I actually wanted to go back then. I wanted to go into that area.
That was another thing actually, because they did the whole thing that Rise did as well. Where it's like the beginning of this one, she loses her equipment again, and you're like, "Are you kidding me, right?"
Yeah.
You know, I've got.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's like I've got to find her shit again.
Cases, conveniently placed cases.
Yeah, and it's just like it was. In many ways, I think it was almost like they looked at, or like someone had played like Uncharted 2 and gone, right, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But they did it all wrong.
All right.
You know, they copied all the same sort of set piece styles and then just
that's
balls them all up.
Yeah.
So if we're saying Telltale Games are definitely number one, Shadow of Tomb Raider is definitely in the top 5.
Yeah.
I've also put in bold the one we haven't talked about yet, which is everything to do with Fallout 76. I don't see how we cannot include that. Like, from the game to the backpack issues to the... Just everything.
That's number 2.
Everything about it. I think so too.
I think it's number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially when you factor in the leak of people's details.
Yeah.
The way that...
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I mean, it's not just the fact that they did it, it's the way they did it. Yeah, it was just such a fundamental flaw that just should never have happened.
Everything Bethesda tried to do with 76, they fucked up. Yeah. Everything. To the point where it's like, someone, just stop. And I say that with a Fallout bobblehead on the shelf in front of me. I love that. I love that series, but they just completely ballsed up everything around it.
Yeah.
Whether you like the game or not is irrespective. It did poorly. They cocked up the pre-orders. They cocked up the data protection. Like, I actually think we have our top 3.
They cut the price like a week after it came out as well.
A week after it came out. Oh God!
Anyone who fucking those people that spent like 80 quid or whatever on that.
Or 200 on the collector's edition with a bad bag.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh yeah, a week later it's half the price and stuff like that. It was just, here's a £4 pack of atoms for your shit bag that we misadvertised.
Which again, the atoms you got to replace your lack of bag wasn't enough to buy the bag in game. That's bad. So I'd say actually our top 3's in bold here on the sheet for you guys, but we need to cut 2 of these 4 to make top 5.
I think Pez should be 4th. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Yeah.
Pez for years now has been exceptional, and we've seen it grow into something. So like I'm talking to my child. We've seen it grow into something so special and such a beloved franchise. To then just release this, it was so bare bones. It was so empty. It was so disappointing. Unlike FIFA, which is it's always been for the last few years at least, it's struggled to get back to where it was, and you can always see them try to do that. And then with FIFA 19, they did. Whereas PES, I don't understand how they fell so far from. I mean, we've been to preview events. We've seen it grow so much, and then there was no real coverage of it, and it was like, hang on, what's going on?
This year.
So we didn't really know a lot about it. We saw that trailer, which the trailer looked at, incredible, but it came out and it was like, I just don't really want to play this. I'll just play 18, thanks. You know, so I think that for me was a crushing disappointment because I mean, like you, I love PES and I've loved it so far for a long time, and then I've played 2 hours of it in total really because I just thought, well, I could just play 18, and then I
think that says it all. Just the fact that you two especially have been championing PES for
PES
years.
has been a game I've championed for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Like there are years on this site where PES has been the number 2 game of the year. The idea that it's even in consideration for biggest disappointment, you know?
Yeah.
I
think that top 4 is like maybe I'm not sure about the order.
I think the top 5
definitely.
actually. I think the top 5 is in order as I would have it, and I would cut State of Decay 2 and Nintendo Labo.
Can I just play devil's advocate for 1 second on Rush's reception? I just want to say that, like, yes, it's a disappointment, like, overall. But the people I personally care about / follow in the game's world has acknowledged Onrush in some way. So
but they closed the studio, man.
Sorry?
But they closed the studio.
Yeah. I like, if we're going to...
Let's call it Onrush. Oh, that's the wrong one. The Onrush's Fallout.
Then
like the lack of people playing it,
story
the lack of people playing it, the fact they closed the studio, the fact that Paul Rashinsky, yet again made a great game, ended up with no success. The poor bloke must be cursed. Like, he was behind MotorStorm, he was a director on there, to go from MotorStorm to Onrush, and to still, I don't actually know where he is now. When I think about it, I'm not 100% sure.
If that's the case, then that list is set, I think.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
I could go with that.
Okay. That was easy. So, biggest disappointment in 5th place is the Onrush Fallout. The fact that it sold incredibly poorly, and despite discounted prices, couldn't get a user base going. It's still kicking, just about. The fact that the studio was shut down, the fact that it felt like that there was a game that people were taking a chance on and it didn't get the success it deserved. That's 5th. 4th place, PES 2019, with reasons we've explained. 3rd, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, again, reasons we've explained. 2, everything to do with Fallout 76. And the biggest disappointment of 2018, Telltale Games, and the way that all played out. While we're here, we will also, as we close day 1, remind you that the nicest or biggest surprise was Monster Hunter World, with Astrobot, Onrush, Tetris and Black Ops 4 in 2nd through 5th, and the best re-release or remake in 5th place was Dark Souls Remastered, not the Switch version. Diablo 3 on Switch in 4th. In 3rd place, Yakuza Kiwami 2. In 2nd place, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and in 1st place, Shadow of the Colossus.
You do realise, right, that you saying Diablo 4 has just triggered like a whole of people who are listening.
I know. Hey, listen, you say sometimes the things you think the most. That is day 1 in the books for Game of the Year on GodIsAGeek.com. Tomorrow, day 2, we'll be talking about best new IP or series or game, best story, and best sports racer fighter. That category gets bigger every year. That's going to be an interesting one. You guys will be back tomorrow with me, and hopefully the people listening will be back with us tomorrow. We hope you've enjoyed day 1 of the festivities. Just a very brief reminder that if you're a Patreon for $1 a month, you get your podcasts early, including this one. And if that's you, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, please. Gary, Adam, Chris, thank you ever so much for your time, as always.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, normally I say we'll see you whenever you choose to listen, but hey, I know you. You'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.